Game number 1 between UCS Season 3 winners and, of course, GOAT is going to be on your left. Oh, what a match. What a time.
What a match. I'll tell you what, Zoinks, you ain't getting that type of conversational action anywhere else on the internet.
Yeah, because
Certainly
no one
not
wants
in
to
the Pokemon
suffer
uni-
through it. Anyway, continue.
Listen, man. I was trying to spin it as a positive, and you just gut punched us again.
True.
Here we go. GOAT on the left-hand side of your screen. Some names you might recognize, of course. Yeaster is trainer. 1 is Yeatfan.
Mm-hmm.
Because nothing's easy. And of course, UCS Season 3, 5 Kraitoses. We have, who we got? We got JL, we got Zugrug, we got Toon.
Yep.
We got Machizzle, and who am I missing?
Kratos.
Jesus.
All right. GOAT has
golly.
first selected the Zacian. Surprising
Throw
to me.
me off a bridge, homie. What? Okay.
Which is actually crazy because they're giving up the Inteleon, and there it is, UCS Season 3 winners not going to let that go past their first draft pick stage. They're going to grab the Umbreon, they're going to grab the Inteleon, giving over the Blissey Zacian combination if GOAT wants to take care of that, and I don't think that Reckzz is going to let that one pass away. However, the Inteleon, just too strong to give away. Is Pokemon so absurd? One of the best cursed incense users in the game as well. Cut away that healing. Both Trevenant and Blissey are going to really hate being incensed.
They're going to be incensed with the healing stoppage. I like JL with the fake pivot on Comfy and then going right back to Hoopa because that Pokemon is good.
True.
GT Kraitos, whichever one that is, locking
Machizzle.
in Leafeon. Machizzle, sure, whatever. Doesn't
We
matter
really
at this
need like a
point.
cue card on screen for everyone that comes in the chat.
What we need
That's
is
too.
normal gamer tags, homie. That's what we actually need. Here we
yeah.
go. We've got Trainer. We've got Yeatfan selecting their Pokemon here. And honestly, I kind of want to see
Ooh.
Shades of Old. We're not going to get them, but I would have loved to see like UCS Season 1 Trainer and Yeatfan classics.
That's okay. So basically not Mew, but Decidueye in this build. Like, if we're looking at that, it's a very similar build to the good old days. I agree with you. I would love to see that. However, I love Trainer Zoroark. Easily one of my favorite player Pokemon combinations to cast in our entire scene. It is just so astounding to watch. So I'm very, very excited for this game in particular. It looks like Toon is actually going to be the player picking up the Leafeon and instead giving the Blastoise over to Machizzle into the top path.
Yeah, Machizzle going to be taking that to the top, right? We actually saw Machizzle go to the bottom path as Machamp last game, which is a little bit interesting because of how their composition worked. They wanted Zacian to peel up top and have the Chandelure in the middle. So Machizzle going to be really in their comfort zone going back to that top path there. Looking across the way, I mean, I'd be shocked if I don't see Overlord go try and be an absolute menace on the side of UCS Season 3's side of the field. As we know, JL might cross all the way, cross down shootout to try and stop the Zorua from getting online too.
Yeah, those are always threats you gotta be paying attention to. I mean, Zorua, Pokemon you can shut down early. That's a good call out, but they sure don't seem to stay Zorua too long. They gave that Pokemon a pretty quick clear. That's one of the biggest benefits too, right? And I don't know if we talk about it often enough, is one of the best merits of Central Area Pokemon is all going to be on how quick your clear is. How can you get away from those pesky level 1 through 4? Zorua's burst damage, even early, pretty strong that you can get rid of that pesky 4.
I have a question for you, Zoinks. Since UCS Season 3 has 5 Kraitos, are we up to Crayfoot?
Crayfoot! Oh, wow. We sound like we're in Alabama cookout right now. Louisiana? They're into the crawfish. Anyway, Crayfoot is here and ready to battle as Reckzz brings the EXP share to that central, giving them a little bit of that boost as Crayfoot puts on the gas.
This team name is Crayfoot for me the rest of the game.
All right,
JL
sounds
put
good.
tons of pressure on Overlord, getting a quick KO with the tandem of Reckzz. Reckzz getting some nice little pop shot by Toon coming through as the Leafeon, already level 4, used the Solar Blade, didn't go with the full clear because they didn't need it, but they made their impact felt quickly.
Ooh, yeah, good call out on the not full clear. Didn't even notice that at first, but only hitting that level 4, only grabbing a red buff, and all that pays dividends already early on in this game. Machizzle is going to eject button back towards the goal zone. His trainer gets a little too close for comfort, and Overlord not hitting 5. So a very, very important breakpoint kept away from that player. They're getting very close to it as they're going to tick over in just a moment, but notably not having it before Swablues.
No, not at all. But Overlord getting right in the face, and Kraitos, Crayfoot can't even get in there to get into the experience. So what does that leave? It all up to Goat here as damage is being reined in, but now it looks like Trainer's on the backside here. Toon can't close the distance, and Trainer gonna make it out. But I mean, good experience exchange for Goat there.
Yeah. And wow, I guess the KO opener happened already, but an immediate follow-up by Umbreon, OMO, Kraitos, aka Zugrug, gonna be able to dunk in 12 in the face of Aznable on this Trevenant, but more importantly, getting a pretty huge knockout onto Yeatfan's Mew. So I am assuming Yeatfan going in for a little bit of stacking as Overlord gets a pretty big chase down. Big knockout there.
JL's on the hunt too. They want some of this. Good engagement by the War Turtle. They get a KO in tandem. They're going to get trying to go for another one, but no, Trainer is going for it. The hands can't come out fast enough. JL makes it out of dodge and is right back to pressure this Goat team.
Jeez, if there's any player that knows the play patterns of an assassin like Trainer, it's going to be JL. Obviously, teammates almost all Season 2 on this Amaterasu squad. And, well, they've made a formidable duo in many games in the past. This time, looking at each other on the opposite sides of the lobby. That always is an interesting story to watch for me. Seeing those play styles kind of clash. Supports knowing where they like to go in, where they like to dash into, and a big stop by Reckzz.
That is huge. That egg bomb comes through. That's going to open up a KO on JL. They cash in the first one. Overlord wants the next one, and so does Trainer. They get the spacing out on to one of the Kraitoses, as that buys enough time for Toon to come in. Machizzle and Toon moving forward. They're going to try and secure some of that wild Pokemon. I think they did. The Solar Blade finding the wild Pokemon, getting some experience, not really raining in any damage onto Goat, but I think they're happy with the exchange.
Yeah. UCS S3 not getting their War Turtle up to any formidable level, still stuck at that level 6, meaning that Zacian doing their job in that top path. Unstoppable triggered by that Snarl, really good engage tool from the side of Zugrug, as Regirock's brought down to about half, as we're seeing a really wild skirmish in all sides of the Regirock pit, and it's going to be Reckzz who finds that last hit secure.
Most importantly, though, those KOs were reined in as well, and tons of damage was put on top of Crayfoot as the rest of Goat is pushing onto this goal zone. Nice spacing by Aznable. Another quick KO there for Trainer, and tons of points are in, and they are winning by 46.
That feels like our first big momentum shift of the game. I mean, we've had a few exchanges where Goat has come out on top, certainly, but I feel like the exchanges have kind of been given on one path, and then the other team surges onto the other side. I feel like this was that first unanswered exchange from the side of Goat, with a really amazing team fight win into a goal zone crash, and as well taking a pretty sizable score lead.
Yeah, I mean, credit to Reckzz for clutching out that objective for the team here. As Zacian is able to get a KO, JL actually dives through. They don't want to keep that pressure on. They think they'd get the next one on the chopping block. But they get enough time for the team to come through. Toon secures the Regieleki very quickly with the Solar Blade. And now Goat, who thought they were in control there, find themselves like, okay, now we got to catch this Regieleki.
Yeah, I don't think they expected to lose that little objective fight, especially with Overlord Zacian up there. That final dash not going to land onto Toon, and Trainer's going to pay for it. Liquidation from Kraitos finds that last hit secure, and a really amazing exchange from the side of Goat.
Rapid Spin Water Spout sitting on top of the Mew. They're trying to peel back, but that is a ton of damage going in. Boosted Auto comes through, and that actually gives Machizzle their evolution into Blastoise. So now they're an actual character at the 5-minute mark. Zacian dives through. They're trying to make it back to their base. Solar Blade misses. Rapid Spin Water Spouts on the chase. They've got Zugrug in their pocket. They're going to see if they can mean look anybody down, but there's Trainer eviscerating through the turtle like it didn't even have a shell. Soft shell indeed, as it follows up. Solar Blade comes through all over Trainer. Bliss Assistance just in time. They're going to keep this push going. Zugrug uses their Unite move to gobble up all the shields, but the Solar Blade is there for the support. Inteleon Liquidation as well, pouring water on this fire that is this Goat push, and now just Reckzz is the one that's going to go down.
Yeah, only Reckzz being taken away, and if it's a support, I think that's your best option, and you still have a chance of defending this goal zone. That gets a little bit tougher, though, as Kraitos picks up a KO streak of 3. Only Overlord left to defend his goal zone. Huge Sacred Sword damage, but not quite enough to find a knockout in any area. Oh, that's a heartbreaking amount of HP bars that are just barely above 1.
Yeah, I actually think there was a bit of a trainer re-engagement there that did not need to happen. They could have peeled back a little bit, but I think as soon as they went in, they got gobbled up, and that was just the leverage that Crayfoot needed to keep the pressure on. Trevenant catches 3, but the pressure is all over this Regirock. Everybody's focus firing that. Who's going to take it? Trainer, at least this time, picking up the team in that. Hydro Typhoon comes through, but they get poached by Aznable, put on the backside here, as now zugrug has all of those players looking at them. Solar Beam comes through and puts a little daylight on that dark type Pokemon.
Umbreon has a couple of mobility options, most notably that foul play, but when you're selecting the mean look, you do not have access to that. Light Screen just proves too much of an obstacle for them to get around. Nice little play by Yeatfan for spacing, and of course, finishing off that KO. We got an incredibly close game between these two teams. It's been really exciting. I mean, it just feels like an all-star game, really, that we're starting to watch between these two squadrons, as Kraitos kicks off yet another one of these scrappy skirmishes, and Overlord takes a few Unite moves to take them down, but they do get knocked out by the side of UCS S3.
The two-step is used to leverage 2 KOs, and now Kraitos is in tandem. We're putting through. I mean, that liquidation is just so much damage. So unfortunately, the Leafeon doesn't strike true with that blade, so they don't get the KO on the Blissey. But now they're pivoting to get all this Wild Burst experience. Trainer's going to use that to engage on top of Toon, and then he'd rain in tons of damage. The portal's down, slows down Zugrug just in time, and they're able to get that KO. Zacian's there for the follow-up, but they can't get anything themselves. Holy zoinks. Nice little pressure and pop shots back by Crayfoot to make sure that they don't get KO'd there, and a nice hoop of portal to reset.
I think Trainer thought they had a lot more backup coming behind them, but they were solo engaging, and since they couldn't chase down Toon, they didn't have the range to find that secure. Everybody else just kind of fell from that point forward. I mean, not a lot of KOs given either direction, but with Yeatfan taking a significant one there, I mean, all of a sudden, it looks like Goat's in a really great position towards our end fight. That being said, Regieleki secured by UCS S3, making that goal zone defenseless, and of course, it just gives them a little bit of spacing.
Nice shot here by Yeatfan to deal some damage onto Zugrug early. Half their HP is gone. So is Aznable. Liquidation is a real factor here, Zoinks. And we've got Toon trying to pivot to try to get a Hundo Burger on the sneak. They're going to see if they can order that on the dollar menu for themselves, but there's the Zoroark there for the cover. Nice reset here. There's no real pressure for Crayfoot to do anything because they have that Hoopa Portal to come back through, but the hyperspace hole is on a timer here, and everybody needs to make it back through. Big Solar Beam comes through, no clutch KOs out of that. Whoa, but here comes the Unite move back the other way. The Blastoise puts the pressure on Trevor Unites on top of them. The stuns are trying to find them, but there's their support, the backup. Solar Beam comes in, doesn't hit anybody. Hydro Typhoon chips up 1. Can they get the follow-up KO? No, Zugrug's gobbled up, and so are 2 more players on the back of that Overlord push. Those fists from JL are at a distance. They're trying to stun them down, but it's Overlord that reigns supreme with the big sword, with the big knife coming through for number 4, Zoinks, and that whole team was gone off the map in one moment, and now Goat ripping the Rayquaza.
Whoa, Overlord writes an obituary for the Season 3 winners of the KO streak of 4. Felt like a Penta, felt like even more, but I mean, honestly, Goat just really showcasing why I called this game an all-star matchup beforehand. Ridiculous showing from them, taking down a team with players the caliber of Zugrug, Toon, JL, and a matchup looking that fantastic in the final team fight. You gotta have an answer to a Pokemon like Zacian and a player like Overlord, and it felt like UCS S3 had neither.
I agree completely. I mean, now Overlord's just running roughshod across the map. KO streak of 4, of course. And that's the thing, you know, they're kind of, Zacian is really, truly a blender, right? When it goes for that Sacred Sword, if you're caught in that mix when it's level 14 in the late stage of this game, no hyperspace hole is going to save you. I mean, the liquidation was dealing tons of early damage for UCS Season 3, aka Crayfoot, but they just couldn't get the engagement follow-up, and once Zacian went in off of a path cleared by Aznable, it was just over, dude.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. 468 to 261. Goat starting off our winners finals matchup with a 1-0 lead, putting them in obviously a fantastic position. Trainer with 8 knockouts, Overlord with 9. And I mean, let's also give credit where credit's due here. Overlord doing this without a Comfey pocket. Of course, they had Reckz's Blissey backing them up, which is also amazing, but still no individual pocket towards them that entire matchup, and still putting up numbers like that.
Tons of, I mean, 94k is nothing to scoff at for Overlord, but I think this is kind of like the most quiet 94k I've ever seen out of Overlord, right? They had like the big KO streak of 4 at the end, but I mean, it was really felt like Trainer was the one leading the charge there most of the game, and really kind of became the player to watch as their engagements kind of followed suit off of that. Ooh, if I'm Crayfoot, I'm not sure what I do here. I think they had a pretty decent game plan. I mean, that Inteleon liquidation was huge. It was absolutely massive. I think the issue, and we kind of see one of the weaknesses with the hyperspace hole itself, is tons of damage was reined in, and it's a predictable re-engaged target. So, you know, ultimately what UCS Season 3 might have done there when they got that really nice reset is not come back through the portal, because we immediately saw the solar beam come through. We were just, everything in the kitchen sink was thrown at that little orange portal on the ground. And because of that, they had 3 players roll through. Half our HP was just eviscerated instantly the moment they showed back up to the fight. Well, JL doesn't have another portal, and you actually saw the scramble to use the Unite move to try and use the fist attack of the Rings Unbound Hoopa to stun the team that was sitting in front of them, to just buy time. And ultimately it was too late. Overlord was already there, and they were hitting all their buttons, and everybody was removed immediately from the map.
Yeah, in some of these team fights, a lot of the time, it comes down to who fires first. And in a scenario like that, when you get that initial stun on such an important target like Hoopa, JL is forced to press that Unite move button like you just said, and so they could have access to a few more options in that team fight. But of course, the entire team showing up right there at the same time is going to be exactly into Overlord's hands, or paws, I don't want to say that, in Overlord's hands in this scenario, so that definitely was looking good for Go. Now, in our game number 2, I do have it confirmed from the teams that they are going to be swapping sides in draft. Of course, our format's a little bit different than the Unite Championship Series. We're giving first pick in draft over to whoever would like it in terms of loser. So if you lost that first game, then you get to decide, do you want first or second pick? It probably won't matter to the viewers too much, but I do want to just try to explain it out the gate as often as I can. And there we go. We're going to be headed into game as soon as possible. I'm giving the ready check to the players, as they are all very, very excited. Also, Psyche in chat is very excited as well, saying that they smell a giveaway, which is, in fact, disgusting, but also exciting. So make sure to pay attention to chat, and as soon as that giveaway goes live, hit that exclamation mark join if you want a chance at winning a Blaziken Unite license.
One thing I want to really quick say is Inteleon was sussing out and dealing a ton of damage with their liquidations in the final fight. For example, like Aznable was brought to like 40% HP on one liquidation, and they knew exactly where Aznable was. So my question is, for Crayfoot in game 2 here, if they get this Inteleon, they probably won't if they're picking 2 on the hop. I'm looking at this and I'm saying leverage that information. I mean, one liquidation is literally eviscerating defenders' health bars 70%. Yeah. You have to be able to engage off the back of that. And I think just that stutter step where Crayfoot didn't actually get into the mix caused them to miss out on a good opportunity.
Agreed. All right, well, before I start getting into this draft, remember, everybody, the raffle is now going on. So exclamation mark join in chat. You have 3 minutes to join this giveaway. Of course, after that, the winner will be pulled, a single winner of this Blaziken Unite license. So exclamation mark join in chat if you want a chance at winning a very cool all-rounder Pokemon. I think Blaziken's pretty sweet. Been a very fun Pokemon to watch.
It has been very cool. I haven't played it, obviously, because I stick to my supporters and tanks, but it looks awesome.
It does.
Not my cup of tea, but I can definitely see why players are enjoying playing that Pokemon.
True.
Taking a look here, Reckzz is taking on the Hoopa Mantle, saying, "Let me show you what kind of rings a Super Bowl champ can wear." You just Unite Mike's Mayhem W machine Reckzz over here gonna take that Hoopa out from JL, because JL I think is on comfy duty.
I should do the math to see who is the most winningest player of Unite Mike's Mayhem of all time. It might be Overlord, technically. They have done a fair share of winning on our tournaments as well, so we'll have to have an internal debate on that one. Well, UCS S3 have finalized their current roster, double attacker, double defender. So we're probably going to be seeing a top path Blastoise, which is pretty par for the course. The Sylveon could be headed into bot path, which means we have Decidueye on the side of GOAT. Yeatfan locking in truly one of their most iconic selections. I mean, their name is in the competitive zeitgeist because of this Ghost Grass bird. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, carrying the Curse Bangle as well. Yeah, that's big. That's big. They're going to be able to just, because, I mean, we know that a Decidueye likes to just hold down their attack button, right?
True.
Because once they get those stacks up, it just shelling in all those feathers, and all of those are massive ticks, as you mentioned earlier, Zoinks. So that's going to be an opportunity and something to watch, as the only cursed incenses on the side of Crayfoot are on ASU Kraitos and JL, aka TB Kraitos.
I actually think the Comfey is a huge Giga Brain selection for that anti-heal item. I mean, that final item slot for Comfey is just really often debated. I think EXP share, no matter what, please, if you earn solo queue and you're not running EXP share on that Pokemon, please change your mentality of how you play this game. But I do think that is going to be a really, really cool item to see on a Pokemon that, you know, otherwise just has not many choices for a final slot like that. Special attack specs, I think, has been in that slot in the past. But I mean, if we're playing in a metagame right now where I don't think stacking is super easy in the early game with so much burst damage in the bottom and top paths, that you're only getting stacks when you have big goal zone crashes and you're only getting 1 or 2 stacks, it doesn't really make those specs worth it.
No, that makes a ton of sense. And when you have the flexibility to try out some of these new items, I mean, do it, right? Like, that's the only way you can litmus test these things. Aznable being on this Umbreon, for me, is going to be huge for GOAT specifically, because they're going to be able to trap some of these players. And if they can have Overlord come unleashed when those players are trapped, it doesn't matter if it has a comfy collar or not. It's going to be put into that Zacian Sacred Sword blender, and we just see it going to work right now. That comfy is trying to pick it up. We're going to need a Hyper Voice coming out, but about half of that thing missed. Nice little pop shot, astonished by JL, gets that Sylveon picking up the comfy, but it's, you know, too low on HP to engage in the face of 3 players.
Toon is a rough choice there, Rex. They have the red buff, so they can slow down Zacian's escape route. However, if you want to do your real damaging move, Hyper Voice, you're of course locked into that aiming position. So do you basic attack to try to slow them down, or do you try to find the KO? Both are a gamble. Either way, Overlord threads the needle and escapes the doom that ToonSlim could have provided. But you see this, they're actually rotating down towards the bot path, wanting to avoid the Zacian, but Rex actually sends the whole crew down there.
Sends the whole crew down, and they're going to get tons of KOs for this. Overlord gets 1. Overlord looking for 2. Glaceon gets credit for that. The push continues. Trainer wanted in on the action. Nice little dart around the Hyper Voice to get the berry, and now Toon has to peel back. They can't get the pressure, which means more stacks, importantly, for Yeatfan on the Decidueye, as the Aznable is going to be able to wish trap Toon so they can't get in. No, look at them picking up the shots for the rest of the team. That's huge. Aznable playing like a prince out here on that Umbreon, and taking those shots for the team is what is allowing this kind of ridiculous counterpunch that GOAT is trying to go for.
And the only reason they go down there as well is because of the auto-critical factor of Inteleon, right? There's so much defenses on that Umbreon. A normal basic auto is never getting that KO there. But the critical hit, of course, passing underneath those defenses is too much for that Umbreon to take care of. So a bit of a trade in that scenario, but you're right. That's all Umbreon. That's a great play. If you're giving up your life in those scenarios, it's still a really positive exchange.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you have Yeatfan, that's such a squishy Pokemon as this Dartrix that's really just trying to get up. It's trying to cheese some easy stacks. I mean, we know they'll leave Yeatfan in a path by themselves just to try and get stacked up and have that big time impact later in the game. Able to get those stacks and get out, and the Dartrix survive is just, I mean, it's a chef's kiss. Great play by a great defensive player here. Now, Reckzz is putting the pressure on, and we've got poor Zug getting put into the blender again. I mean, that's just what Mean Look does. It sets you up, it puts you in a tube, and we're going to throw everything into that thing, and you're not going to walk out of it. And that's what's happening time and time again. You can really see the value.
I think we gotta be asking why Inteleon was that far forward in the first place, that they got caught.
True.
Why Kraitos was there when they got caught up by the Mean Look. But, I mean, they're back to defend their goal zone to their credit, and they're able to take down Yeatfan, who Trainer tries to get involved with a huge Glaceon Unite, and they're gonna be able to reset pretty safely. But those Regirocks, wow, that Pokemon did not leash. They came up for the smoke all the way up to that top section of this team fight, and zugrug trying to hold this one down, but Aznable holding back 3 players single-handedly.
They're forcing out the Sylveon Unite because Overlord wants the KO, and they get that KO. Nice support by the team to be behind Overlord on that push. As soon as Toon went for it, Toon leapt over the Wish so they didn't get caught in the same thing that Zug did, but it didn't matter because the support from the rest of the GOAT team was there. They take the Regirock, and now they're taking the bodies. They're pushing all over this goal zone. Liquidation comes through. It actually cuts off and switched on top of the Reckzz as a target so the Glaceon doesn't go down. I mean, GOAT is moving really well. You have to give credit to Reckzz and Aznable because they're taking all of the shots on behalf of the rest of the team right now. And now Overlord is in deep on this UCS Season 3 squad as GOAT is trying to get points, and ultimately they're trying to get this Decidueye online as they're shelling and leaves all over the place, but they might have overextended their welcome. Liquidation does a tons of damage. They leash forward, and they get a quick time KO, does the Comfy.
How did I not realize that this is a Razor Leaf Decidueye right now? This is not Spirit Shackle. Yeatfan is pressing the A button, and they are holding it down, Dupes next. We have a attack weight stacking Inting and Decidueye on our hands is what we are dealing with, and they are currently at 95. So right now, this squad is making it work. Shout out, GOAT.
I mean, they're certainly... Shout out to the GOATs. They're certainly trying here. One advantage that this Razor Leaf Decidueye does have is because it does have the Cursed Bangle.
Yeah.
So it's going to get a little bit of an extra layer of value here. Probably not intended, but that's what we're getting nonetheless. Toon is able to scream that bird down, saying, I don't care how loud you squawk. I'm just hitting a different note. And now UCS Season 3 is throwing a lot of punches into the face of GOAT.
Yeah. You're absolutely right, by the way. It's all in on this Curse Bangle. Like, it's all in on doing this anti-heal strategy. Well, I mean, so far they got a score lead. Experience-wise, they're doing really solid as well. The Knock Knock is available. Regilecki has been untouched this whole matchup, by the way. And there's the Knock Knock. That's going to clear away the Blastoise. Nice little working in tandem between these two.
What else but wish to pin a target down and just unleash yet another violent volley of attacks, and that's the Knock Knock arrow straight into the face of that Blastoise. What you can do is you can cancel Knock Knock arrow early, and that's exactly what they did to get those scores in as well. So worth noting that they might be able to get that thing back a little faster now, Zonks.
Yeah, really good call there. Micro decisions by who else than the Decidueye master themselves, Yeatfan. Reckzz drops that Hoops on bounce so that those two players who are crashing into the top path can immediately rotate down, but the Registeel is knocked out by Zugrug, so another incredible secure for that player. Really one of UCS's Season 3 winners' last hopes in our matchup as they get a clutch Bracent Reggie KO. However, Kraitos putting up a pretty solid last stand on that grass side, but well, they may have gotten the Reggie, but their team does not find the team fight win as Trainer is currently frontlining as a double buffed up Glaceon.
That is a soul-crushing Rapid Spin Water Spout for no KOs because everyone got hit down so low. And like you said, I mean, Inteleon stepped up. They're trying to do what they could for the squad, but GOAT had just the right amount of gas left in the tank to push that to push the Inteleon back. So great look by them. I mean, GOAT is playing very well here, Zoinks.
They've played a little fast and loose, right? Overlord getting quite confident about their position on the map. They're even trying to get in some central area, invade solo. They do pay for that one. A very good quick rotation from UCS S3. However, I still think that their advantage in terms of level lead is kind of becoming insurmountable at this point. Aznable gets so much damage reduction from their Snarl Mean Look combination as they clear some space, and Trainer again tries to push in for this top flank. However, Inteleon's liquidation is too much for them to handle as they get eliminated. Aznable not there in time to body block for them.
Yeah, now the push is happening. A nice little Surf Hyper Voice combination to really get the spacing that they need. A nice mean look traps Kraitos, but Overlord doesn't decide to engage on that just yet. Goat looking for another opportunity here, but it's just Zug caught in a mean look again, and we're going to be able to get a clean reset on the Umbreon. Tons of HP rolling back through here. So, I mean, ultimately, like you said, Goat now is slowing the pace of this thing down because Reckzz is right around the corner.
Yeah, it feels crazy. We're already knocking on the door, and a pretty huge lead for the side of Goat. They're going to do some early damage to the Reckzz. See if any of those members of UCS S3 are hiding in the tall grass. Reckzz will, of course, target them down with a bit of a whirlwind. They have the Snorlax caught in the mean look, but they have the Comfey. They're going to absolutely sustain through anything, but more than anything, Aznable's just trying to use those buttons as often as they can.
Look at that. Mean look caught, and now the Slowbro is carrying the Comfey, but they get KO on Aznable real quick. That's a huge catch. Surf comes through. They're trying to prevent the resets. Nobody takes the portal back. UCS Season 3 is looking. We've got the Reckzz Unite move coming out. They're trying to stun. Already we have the Inteleon down. They're putting the pressure on. Can they find another one? They do. Next goes the zugrug. Kraitos goes down next. Comfey, there's 4. Can they get the Blastoise as well? They cut off all 5 toes. We call that an amputation. Zoinks. Crayfoot getting lopped off in a mean way. Goat coming through with the win.
Goat looking ridiculous in that final team fight. Yeatfan's amazing knock-knock unite move is doing great splash damage, good peppering in, and remember that cursed bangle anti-healing multiple members of the enemy team all at once, and who better than Reckzz to capitalize on all of that with a 3-player Hyperspace Fury, stuns them all, keeps them in place. They can't avoid Yeatfan's Razor Leaf damage, which is actually kind of popping off right now. I can't wait to see those final numbers, and then Overlord there for the final secure with their Unite move in that Ray fight. Ridiculous team fight from them, and we have Goat in a commanding position for our final 30 seconds.
Yeah, and they are not letting this thing up right now as Goat keeps putting the pressure on. I mean, Razor Leaf Decidueye, baby, we did it. Unite Mike's Mayhem delivers on every axis always. Come on.
Goat looking incredible as the seconds count down. There is no opportunity for UCS S3 to come back from this one. A pretty fantastic matchup through and through. The scoreline may say 2-0 for the side of Goat, but I really felt like both of those games were a back and forth absolute bonanza. And well, Deuce Next, I'm not gonna lie, I had a whole lot of fun casting them.
Yeah, that was a blast. I mean, you look at just the world's qualified NA players on these teams. Got a bunch of them. No slouches by any regards, which is why Unite Mike's Mayhem is just so much fun. Easily digestible tournaments on weekdays where you watch the top players play. Come on, it's like we wrote the script ourselves, my friend.
I'm pretty sure every single player in this lobby, except for, I guess, Toon and Machizzle, played at NAIC as well. So take that for what it's worth in terms of top 8 in North America. Toon obviously playing on their own, and Machizzle did qualify for that tournament. So yes, a very, very stacked lobby that we have on our hands. And we are all finished up as Goat win that one 2-0. Yeatfan with the Razor Leaf. I was hoping for some better numbers, but 81,000 damage may have to be the ticket. And they still came away with the team win. Kraitos, though, putting up a really fantastic performance on the Inteleon. 112,000 damage. I honestly wonder how much of that was Aznable, because that poor Umbreon was just taking liquidations and body blocking for the rest of their team left and right.
I just want to highlight real quick on Goat. Of course, we can talk about, Trainer, Yeatfan, and Overlord as the day is long. But Aznable and Reckzz really had a phenomenal game here in Game 2. Really doing a great job to make sure that Overlord, Trainer, and Yeatfan can take over the game in the ways that those players tend to do by taking the shots from the other team, eating that liquidation, eating those attacks. And setting themselves up to get KO'd to open up the opportunity. You want to talk about right at the very end? We had the mean look trap and then the Overlord Zacian follow-up. Aznable was the one that got KO'd. Reckzz was right there with the 3-player stun on the Hyperspace Fury. And then it was just curtains. And then Overlord, again, had the runway to take flight. And wow, did they certainly do that.
Yeah. Absolutely phenomenal. I mean, the support play in tandem with those attackers, like you just mentioned, was so good, and I can't wait until we get to see it again, which of course will be happening in week number 4 of Unite Mike's Mayhem as this team gets their auto invite to that spot, and of course winning today's tournament winnings as well. So it's gonna be an amazing season of Unite Mike's Mayhem that we have on our hands. It's season 4 and it's better than ever. We have so many incredible squads for Pokemon Unite gathered for this tournament. 4 new teams next week, 4 new teams the following, and of course our grand finals night. It's gonna be fantastic. Deuce Next, is there anything that we gotta say before we head out?
Of course there is. Shout out to the best spectator in the game, Gamma, for supporting us and being here with us as we do Unite Mike's Mayhem. Of course, shout out to Psyche, our mod, crushing it out there with the giveaways. And the last shout out, of course, exclamation point, Pandycorn, to learn a little bit more about Pandycorn Gaming, a safe space gaming community here within the Pokemon Unite ecosphere that just brings everybody in, trying to be inclusive, give you a place to be, people to hang out with, and of course, a safe space for you and your friends, of course, responsible for groups such as Unite Femme Fatales and MUFA. So check that out. Exclamation point gives you a link that doesn't work because we're the worst, but certainly do your best and use the Google machine to sort that out. Pandacorn Gaming.
Absolutely. Yeah, check out all those communities for sure. Make sure to follow Unite Mike's on Twitter and on YouTube if you want to catch these games being uploaded there and cut down. But of course, our podcast Overdunk is also hosted there on that website. So check that out. Give the Unite Mike's channel a subscription. That will mean the most to us. But more than anything, if you're going to listen to anything I've said so far tonight, be sure to be here next week, same time, 9 p.m. Eastern, for week number 2 of Unite Mike's Mayhem Season 4. We're going to have more teams, more Unite, more giveaways, and even more cool things to talk about then.
How did you not say and more mayhem?
I was getting to it. It was just a really long, over the top. You know how I do, where I talk way too long before someone tries to cut me off. You get it? Yeah, you've already been there. All right, don't worry, everybody. We are going to be back with more mayhem next week, Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Be there, be square, whatever you'd like. I cannot wait. We'll see you all then, everybody.
Be a rhombus, baby.
All right.